because you're expecting the VA is going to cover it, and with all of the red tape at the VA, give you an example with my dad. He recently went through a couple amputations, and he got sent out for inpatient rehab. The VA sent him. He didn't say, "Oh, I want to go." They said, "You're gonna go here, right?" So he went. He had one amputation. Then they sent him to the rehab to do the inpatient rehabilitation, right? Then the wound wasn't healing. He needed a second amputation, so they sent him back to the VA to do the second amputation. After the second amputation, he went back to an inpatient rehab not owned by the VA. What happened after that? My parents got a bill in the mail from the VA saying that they weren't going to cover the first inpatient rehabilitation because it didn't seem to be necessary. So my mom had to go to, the admin at the VA and all that, talk to them, fight with them about it, like, hey, you sent him there. What do you mean you're not going to cover it? So it sounds easy. Oh, you can just go out. You can go outsource and go to different doctors. No, it's not that easy. They're wildly inefficient, and going outside the VA makes it more and more likely you're going to have to deal with a bunch of crap.
That's true.
But does that usually have to do with the fact
they're still fighting with them actually over it?
That's usually just getting the VA to play ball, though, right? That's not like the private entity that's causing those hangups.
It's the VA being
get their shit together. Yeah, that's what I mean. So less VA involvement and handing it more over to the private sector and making a more streamlined process by which the VA can cover the bill is a better solution than getting just not going outside and sticking with the VA and getting put in a facility where they issue you a back to beat the rats.
Why not just get rid of the VA now? What are you talking about? This is bullshit. That's bullshit, right? It's a government entity. It's not a fucking private entity. You're like pro-private prison because you're about the bottom line. We're talking about chronic conditions with stuff. She's talking about amputation. You're busy trying to get the bottom line down. And the point is that they're saying more vets now, not just COVID in general, can use more, not less, right?
This is what I'm saying, though. It's like the government should foot the bill. The government should provide the insurance. But there's no reason why they can't outsource the services to the private sector.
Well, the reason they wouldn't is because they're also trying to drop regulation on all sorts of shit. So then hospitals that are nominally government, but they're sourced out like private prisons, they can abuse the fuck out of them because they're dropping regulations. So more abuse happens, right? I mean, we'll see what happens. But I just know the VA's...
How do you feel about fat black people?
It's impacted, maybe you're not feeling it.
Right, but just as an example, though, I think Stuart is pointing out that if we could just handle this funding part of it, it would be a good thing.
But it's not that dry because you're going to come across those problems like her mother had more and more often. It's not a quick fix.
But this implies that there are problems with the VA. This implies that the VA is not woefully inefficient and has had terrible outcomes for the last 60 years. And that's part of the problem here. It's that's the reality of the VA. The VA, at scale, from the 10,000-foot view, yes, sure, some folks may have had positive anecdotal experiences, but largely the VA is pretty fucked. It's let down people time and time again. They're pretty resistant to, expanding their treatment modalities. It took how long for them to be, in approval for people use medical marijuana instead of just putting them on fucking, SSRIs and benzodiazepines. The VA's whole modus operandi is hey, how can we give you enough pills to kill yourself and also assign you a doctor that most closely comports with the enemy combatant of wherever you served? You're in Vietnam, here's a guy in a rice hat.
You're literally going to get the same doctors outside too. That's all. That's a different thing. But you said the thing about medical marijuana. Did that not? Is that still the policy?
But they've now walked it back. Yeah, they now allow people to have VA care. So let's have within a recreational state.
It got better. It changed with inflation.
Yes, over a tremendously long amount of time that was wildly inefficient. It should have happened way sooner. So if you lived in a state where medical marijuana was legalized and you found that it was more efficacious for treating your own pain symptoms rather than huge amounts of Percocets, you could be denied care from the VA as a result of having a positive
administrators also. They're taking down administrators also, right? It's kind of happening all at once, and they're gonna get reformed one way or the other. So I do agree with that. I do agree with your complaint on it. They have tons of insufficiencies, and maybe that's the virtue of Doge in this particular respect. But as far as like throwing away all the nurses and the ground staff, that's just collateral damage as far as I can tell. But they got to do it anyway because they want to take out 80,000 across 50 states.
Yeah, and look, most of those people are going to be fine. They're probably going to receive like a significantly lower pay rate, but that's because the market pay rate is significantly lower and more tied with reality than what like a GS number gets you. And that's the reason why most of these people want to work for the VA, because they pay significantly more than the going rate for whatever the position is. And this is another argument against this idea that like it's an efficient and reasonable use of our time.
I have a question. If the mafia came back into existence and we're all hanging out and we say, hey, look, mafia bosses, this whole mafia thing, we're not really down for it. A lot of us are suffering. So we want to exchange you out and we want to put good people in your place, right? And then we find some good-hearted people and we put them ahead of the mafia. In what world would any of you be okay with it at that point? Mafia is still going to operate the way that it operates. But now we just have somebody and we all agree that this person is a genuine, good-hearted person. But now he is ahead of the mafia. All the policies, regulation, legislation, everything stays the same. But we have a good guy that's ahead of the mafia. It's ahead of the mafia bosses. Does that make sense to anybody?
No.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I'm glad. I hope it doesn't make sense. So, I think people saying like, oh, we just need to, we have to either drain the swamp, or we have to get a hold of the government, or we have to make our little fixes. We need to campaign for the people that we really believe are going to bring change, and blah, 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 blah. I think that you're missing the entire point of what government is. Government is injustice. It's this crazy, magical, fucking fantasy belief that people are going to get some rights that nobody else has. The government doing that, right?
Fema, do you understand how
violence with more violence? But hold on, but this is what I'm saying. Like, I think there's to think that government is going to fix injustice. Government is a permission slip for fucking evil.
I appreciate your advocacy for an ANCAP utopia, but that's quite a leap from
Hold on, you don't have to. No, because I was just waiting to grab it. But I wasn't done. I wanted to.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is like a completely different topic. You're talking about like the dissolving of the federal government, which cool. I'm with you. Let's go. Awesome. ANCAP utopia. All big jump away from like VA bad, private sector better.
Right.
No?
I mean, you think that it's a jump? I don't think it's a jump. You're sitting here. You want to. Fine. You want to continue to figure out the chains? No problem. Go ahead. As you were. Polish the chains.
Crazy, right? Because people are fucking.
Improving conditions is a viable conversation to have, rather than just suggesting that we do a thing that's.
But the VA is a promise to people that served to take care of them. So it's not like like some type of oppressive government thing. It's just how do you fulfill the service?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and I'll acknowledge that this is a bit of an appeal to authority fallacy, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you tell me how wonderful Cracker Barrel is, and then I ask you how many times you've eaten a Cracker Barrel, and the answer is 0, I'm going to have some concerns about your qualifications to tell me whether Cracker Barrel's good or not. Look, the VA is just woefully inadequate. It's a miserable experience. I don't recommend it for anybody. And I think if you ask really anybody who is a veteran and has utilized their services, they'd probably say the same. So I think, if the solution to fixing the broken thing is to keep doing the broken thing, then it's not a solution.
Yeah,
But
the
what
question is
umbrella
whether or not to make the broken thing
system
better
is good?
or to abandon the broken thing.
I think he's kind of speaking to Bima's point. It's just, right, like, are we gonna fix it, or are we just going to not do the thing?
That's the point. What umbrella system is good? It's an umbrella system,
Medicare.
right? Like Kaiser.
Medicare's good.
Yeah.
Medicare has good outcomes.
Well, no, all of them.
They don't have. They're not an umbrella
In general,
system like
People on
Kaiser.
Medicare don't
So-
don't complain about Medicare.
Right. That's a different type of system. They don't have their own
What about the
places.
people that take advantage of Medicare? Should we
Are you talking about Medicaid or Medicare?
Medicare?
Okay, everyone that's over 65 takes advantage of Medicare.
No. I'm talking about like
You're talking about Medicaid,
medical prof-
maybe.
no medical professionals that take advantage of Medicare.
Well,
The system, so to speak.
They can't take advantage
they
of
don't.
Medicaid. I mean Medicare, because they're only allotted a certain amount to be charged.
They're only
That's
allowed a
why-
certain amount to be charged proportional to the services rendered, though.
If anything,
Okay,
they
'cause that was-
avoid Medicare, so they don't get undercut.
So I'll give you
But
an
that's why
example, right?
Medicare is effective as a government
So I'll give you an
organization
example.
because they have the ability to collectively bargain.
All right, so I'll give you an example. There's this chiropractor that had, I think it was like 300 patients.
Why did you guys put Lady off?
What are you talking
I came
about?
back for that. I came back to my phone for that.
Sorry, lady. I thought you were.
No, I thought I heard
You
lady.
can't think I was done if I wasn't even, like, my mic wasn't closed and I was still talking. It's because you felt like what you had to say was more important than what I had to say when I was giving you an explanation. But carry on.
But lady, I think the problem is when you imply that because Medicare has a fixed cost per services, that means that there's not fraud in the system. I think people are going to object to that inherently.
Oh,
because
no,
it's-
I was not. I was going to actually go into how there is fraud and how there's a quality of care issue. But no, go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Mike. We actually had an expert to speak, and you just wanted to fill in your time.
No, y'all look good. Y'all look good. Go ahead. I'm a mod. It's not for me to dominate a conversation. It's
No,
for
you're
me to
not
facilitate.
dominating. You're contributing.
No, it's all good. Go ahead. No. I'm not an expert. It's all good.
You guys are pieces of shit.
Hey, man, where's Morgan when you need her? So there's this example of this chiropractor, right? So he had past and present clients that were on Medicare or whatever, and without them knowing, he was charging them like as if they were patients of his. Like actively using his services.
Don't get me started on chiropractors.
I don't even know that Medicare would support chiropractors. But
Yeah.
The fact that any insurance covers
I can put it right,
chiropractic, the fact that any insurance covers chiropractic is a phenomenal example of like a manipulation of these organizations. Like chiropractic is total quack science. There's no evidence to support that it has any efficacy whatsoever. Anybody who has successfully received chiropractic treatment, what they've actually received is potentially a placebo or like sports medicine done outside of that particular license. And what a fucking racket. A bunch of chiropractors got together sort of the same way Scientology did. And that's a great testament to collective bargaining because they've managed to convince insurance companies that they provide a meaningful service, and they don't.
Hey, I swear to God, though, man, like, man, hold on, manipulating.
No, don't tell Don to hold on. You hold on. This ladies first over here, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let Donna go.
Don't anymore.
Shut up.
So
What a
as
step,
a-
Hell yeah.
They close that off
What a
to
step.
those
Hell yeah.
subscribers. They close those offices. Come here, son.
Alright, so honestly,
Thank you.
like, really, though, man, like, I tried to lift this fucking rock when I was 19 years old. And, I, like, fucked my back up chronically. And until I was 30 years old, man, like, there was nothing that could fix it. And, maybe the chiropractor didn't fix it, but I swear to God, man, like, I had to jump on this pole to fix it.
That was a good story, bro. Good
Bro, I
story.
swear to God, man. I swear to God, it was so bad, man, there was nothing I could do.
For real?
I'm telling you, man.
my God, that's crazy.
Oh man, that was good.
It did work though.
Yo,
It worked, man.
yo,
I'm
doctor,
telling you.
I don't give a fuck about this stupid ass story, you fucking
Yo,
weirdo.
fuck you,
I was joking this whole time.
What
I
type?
wasn't enthusiastic. I wasn't enthusiastic at all.
What type of 1940s ragtime ass establishment are you in, brother?
Starbucks. So, but let Dr. John go. Let Dr. John go.
He's in a speakeasy
I'm sorry,
in Chicago. Yeah, in 19.
Yo,
Yeah, I mean, that's like, you know,
Alright,
you see those
fuck you,
videos
fuck your
of,
stupid
like,
ass story.
fucking,
anyway, did y'all
you
hear?
know, you see those videos of those Indians fucking beating on people's backs and shit with like hammers and stuff? There is something to it. I promise.
There's
Yo,
nothing
so
to it. There's nothing to it. It's all snake.
Speaking about being on people's backs, if I was a slave owner and Louis was one of my slaves,
I'm reading this. So apparently,
If Concrete was one of my slaves, I would take away his children and his wife. Alright? I would separate.
oh shit.
They'd be like,
That's
yeah!
based.
Like, yeah,
I'll be
that's
like,
right.
I'll be like, I don't
I
want
would
to
teach them to
anyway.
raise them as my own.
I'll be like, fuck
I
them
would teach them
kids.
to hate you, Concrete.
Fuck them
Like,
kids.
see
I
that
don't
man?
want them kids.
He's bad.
I want that white woman.
Who taught you to hate yourselves?
I've been to the chiropractor, bro, and when you get your SI joint release, bro, like there's immediate relief as far as like muscle.
Yeah.
This is a sick Negro.
reaction.
This is a sick Negro.
And
Somebody help this man.
Yo, so Mr. Beast has released his 9 rules. Do y'all want to hear them or no?
Yeah. Concrete, we don't want to hear your bullshit. I'm taking away your kids, bro. You understand that?
Oh no!
gonna keep some
Oh no! Dr. John taking my kid. Oh no! Anyway,
I'll teach them to hate
so-
you. I'll teach them white values.
that's good. That's good. I like that. That shit sounds base, yo.
As a powerless white, could you just let Concrete land? Thank you.
But I think I cut some more off. Some more. Were you done?
Oh, yeah.
oh, never feel bad about cutting off small.
Small. My apologies. You
No,
done?
do your thing, dog. Do your thing.
I just wanted to quote Malcolm X a couple times.
So
even though I've never seen it.
apparently, Mr. Beast has these 9 rules, and it's number 1 is obsess over critical components. I don't know what that means, but I guess critical components to his videos or whatever the shit he does. Number 2, treat attention like a science. Again, I don't know what that means, but be focused on attention. Number 3, small budgets are your best creative brief. I guess he's saying keep the budgets low. I don't know. Consultants are cheat codes. I guess consultants in your decision making. Number 5, creativity is an assembly line. That sounds interesting. Again, don't know what it means. Gamifying improvement. Number 6, gamifying improvement. Again, doesn't know what that means. Number 7, Mr. Beast can't be everything to everyone. I guess that's make sure you're segmentizing your business niche. Curate your information diet. Don't know what that means, but it sounds like don't get everything, don't consume everything. Curate your information diet. And number 9, simply wins always. Again, number 9, simple wins always.
The only one that I'm thinking was about the budget. The guy that spends $1 million per episode.
What did you mean by that? Yeah. Well, maybe with the maybe what they do is like little mock-ups of a stunt with a low budget, and then they think about how they can, if the mock-up works, then maybe they think about how they could like make it more elaborate and
Mr.
grandiose.
Beast is a scammer, by the way, buddy.
But he focuses on the small parts. Right? He focuses on the budgets, but just because it involves a lot of small parts, it can be expensive. You know what I mean? It's not like he's just saying, "All right, there's a $6 million budget." I think in these points he, sort of really focuses and scours over the individual parts and keeping them simple and cheap.
The weird part is when he described like his thought process for making videos, like when he was on Rogan, especially at least in the earlier first popped, his whole thing was like reinvesting all of the money he made on videos back into videos and doing these ridiculous things where he gives away millions of dollars. And
Mr. Beast is a piece of shit, bro.
I don't know how you establish yourself as the guy who's like, small budgets are great, but also like the bigger the budget, the bigger the win.
Well, the idea is you have creative teams that are working. So he's on the main stage with the big project that's currently running and making money, right? And then think behind the scenes or on off-site, he's got other crews working on new shit that he can put on the big stage. And so he's telling them, bitch, don't spend all that goddamn money. Make sure that shit is cheap if you're going to run through a bunch of ideas. And then when you get a good idea, then we can elaborate on it. That's what I think is.
I think that there was a huge fucking controversy with Mr. Beast because he basically goes against the guidelines. You're not supposed to bribe people, and he bribes his viewers. He's a piece of shit. He's a circle jerk with YouTube.
What guidelines are those?
Bribing.
I would have waited till you were done, but you don't wait for anyone else. So, anyway, what are these guidelines, and what establishment made them?
I think it means like the YouTube terms of service.
Yeah, your mother.
YouTube has a term of service like that?
Hardcore.
Don't bribe your viewers? That doesn't sound like a violation.
What sense does that make? I'd like to see these terms of service.
You want, okay, I can go fine. Like, you're not supposed to use.
You can read. I'm sure. I'm almost certain you can read at least the third grade level, so you should be able to make it through a term of service.
You stupid bitch, shut up.
Yeah, I don't know about the bribery thing.
So I know that you're trying to do
why don't we get the YouTube
suicide by
I heard the podcast though, so yeah, like doing.
Yeah, I'm playing not spades, in groups. I'm playing.
I was about to say finally.
No, I'm playing the other one. I mean, if someone else wants to take the turns,
all you gotta do is live on this fucking.
Shut up. You still haven't explained. You still haven't explained why you have that dip in your lip. Like which pipe-based drugs you're fucking addicted to. You piece of fucking shit.
Weed, marijuana.
No, that's not a weed scar. That's all you, bud.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, though. I don't have a scar, but you're a fat bitch.
You do.
And you live on the app. I can tell because you don't ever leave this app.
Yeah. So which one of us begged to be here like the bitch that they are, just so that they can continue to look stupid in front of everyone who is.
A bunch of people that I don't care about, like you don't even have your real fucking names. Am I afraid to look bad?
Why would any of us have our real fucking names when a weird loose cannon like yourself is just gonna fucking exploit that information, you piece of fucking shit?
Hold on, Kelly. So I'm serious though. Like, so am I worried about some no-name suckers on the internet?
Whatever my name is not crack using Mountain. That's what it ain't.
Okay.
No.
All right, bitch, whatever.
Okay, you're homosexual, right? You're admitting to being homosexual?
Damn, that's twice.
It's against the rules to call a woman a bitch unless you're a woman or a homosexual. So you're homosexual,
I'm not a homosexual, and she is a dumb fat.
Well, so here's
the rules for the
here's the thing, though. If you are a drug user, you obviously are.
You were banned once.
Only brought back by the grace of Nathan, who decided to let your little ask for forgiveness be allowed for one more chance. But clearly, you didn't care. You don't actually care, and you didn't.
Yeah, I really don't value.
You don't mean it, right? You didn't mean it.
No, I don't care.
So you don't care. You're just going to keep violating the rules until you're removed from the space again, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you didn't need that apology, that little, Nathan, I'm so sorry for everything I did. You're right. I shouldn't have done it. You've cried, Nathan, please.
You was crying to a black man.
Duly noted you didn't mean it.
I'm curious about that. Like, I didn't know that I was talking like that.
Yeah, you were. You did it in Louie's room when you caught Nathan here
apologize? Did I
Yes,
cry
you
or
did.
did I
Oh,
apologize?
Nathan, by the way, Nathan, I'm so sorry about
No,
it was in
you
Louie's
weren't.
room
You dumb
about a week and a
fucking
half
whore.
ago.
You dumb whore. That's a
Yeah,
lie.
Louie,
Alright,
are
so
you
whatever.
there? Do you remember him apologizing to Nathan in your room, asking for
Yeah,
forgiveness?
so I apologize. I don't remember fucking crying like you're saying, Melissa, you dumb.
Yeah,
It's
that's
cool the way he
exactly what
said it.
you were doing.
He was saying something like, I love you guys and I miss you guys. Let me back in. I really like you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Come on, let me back in.
That's what I was saying. I missed this dumpster fire of you motherfucking subhumans. I missed this dumpster fire.
And why did you
People
never
never
ask
leave
Nathan
this
if
app,
you could come
and it's
back?
likely
Why
obese.
do people spend their time
You know?
in here and then claim the room is so awful and like we don't
Yeah.
add value?
Well,
I don't get
It's
that.
a dumpster
This
fire.
is-
Do people like drama? Do people like dumpster fires? This is the biggest dumpster fire on the app.
Yeah, no, this is a really big trend.
Hey, Melissa, why don't you just give it a rest?
This is a
Hey, fat bitch, why don't you give it a rest, Melissa?
Because now you're
Fat
just
bitch,
showing
Melissa,
someone
give it a rest. You don't have to repeat yourself, folks. You don't have to repeat yourself, folks.
Can we do
Liar
it?
and a con artist. Along with the
You
I
dog.
love
don't have
this
to
one.
repeat yourself,
And
bitch.
homosexual.
You don't have to repeat yourself, bitch.
I won my game. So,
Source time.
Allie,
let me
Allie,
see.
you're a
Where
fat
are you?
whore.
Yeah. I'm not a whore. And I actually looked really nice for dinner tonight.
Down to
Maybe
the
I'll
goo
PTR.
where you belong.
Maybe I'll PTR, maybe I won't. Maybe you're down there for half an hour for the series of violations. Crime War bit.
It's really interesting that people will hang out in here and then be like, "This place is for losers and faggots." I don't get it. I can't wrap my head around that.
I think that some people think we're cool and that they wanna belong, but they don't. And that's sad for them, I guess. But no? Wait.
He got put out again. No, he's in the audience, but he's a bitch, so he left.
Yeah. He's an unstable drug using loser. And I don't care about his mental state as a vet. Fuck you, fuck your service. And he does have the crack lip. He does. Because he has whatever Bobby Brown has. Okay? And that shit is strong.
Not too much on instability and not too much on the Bobby Brown.
No, it's the dip in the lip, the permanent indentation from being burned by those drugs they use in a glass pipe.
The glass pipe, yeah.
What is that sandwich you're eating on YouTube live streaming in the room?
It's called pizza, bitch.
Wait, what? The room is actively being live streamed by Edmund. Because he's bored, I guess. Speaking of
Louie, you're supposed to be monitoring.
Yo, Stilgar, you know what
Louie, you're not
I had
on
an
your
epiphany. I had an epiphany. And most humans.
that is a nice vest, though.
They kicked me. That is a pretty nice vest. It wasn't even very expensive. There's nothing else that's even remotely intelligent. It just gets worse, which is the irony.
Here,
This is called Miracles in Quran.
conceding on the fact or on the basis of charitability. What we want is for you to just be clear. You're agreeing, not even conceding. You're agreeing. There's no disagreement.
Andrew is now a
There's no disagreement.
Muslim.
You're agreeing with us
He
that
knocked
the
his faith out of him
not
today.
solely, but alongside other facts, contributes to the stability of
He
the earth.
said,
Nothing
make me a mod and show me that you love me.
We went into details.
We don't need to go into this.
But it's not semantics.
Do you get access to
Whether or not you answer that question yes or no is going to be directly contingent on how you understand what the word
Why don't you just wait and clarify on your turn?
Okay.
That's usually how it works. I know I wasn't. You interrupted.
Oh my bad.
If there's, you said you're saying now that it depends on what you mean. Whatever you meant by when you agreed. A moment ago, we asked you, do you agree that the mountain plays a role into the stability of the earth? You said yes. So whatever you meant when you agreed is what we're saying that the verse is saying. The verse is not saying that the verse is not saying that the mountains solely or primarily affects the stability of the earth. It's not saying how the mountains got there. It's not talking about the forming of the mountains. It's not talking about anything other than the fact that the mountains play a role.
Right. I got you.
So,
but in that case, I think it's an
So this fact detached from the verse, you agree. Only when the verse is mentioned and we try to incorporate it into our the verse and our understanding of it is when you disagree. That's convenient for you, I think, as an atheist.
Well, I don't think I did anything of the sort. But first of all, I have
It's okay.
If you agree to the stability of Earth and the role that the mountains play, we should move on to the next verse.
We will move on, just in the interest of fairness. Though he wants to respond.
Yeah, I have 2 points. First of all, obviously, the question of the source of the article is relevant. Like you say, like, well, we don't care that you don't think it.
Clown emoji.
Well,
Clown emoji.
The reason it was linked was that it was supposed to be a secular academic source, which it's not. So that was the first point.
It's referencing secular academic.
Bob,
No. It's referencing.
I can't believe this, bro.
Hey man, I know it's
We have to let him finish.
Because it references one secular source, and the other 4 references are all from a book called The Geological Concept of Mountains in the Quran. Like, come on.
So
Second of all. No, I'm just saying that was my issue with the source. Second of all, I do think it's relevant to talk about what is meant with the stability of the Earth. Because I think, and the reason it's relevant is because if all you're saying is that we can interpret in some way, shape, or form that the mountains contribute to stability, I think that makes the claim kind of unimpressive.
Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanamatmana jahi shatrum mahabaho.
I think either of them are actually accurate, right? I think that they are windows into the reality, right? But the full window comes at a frequency of understanding, but most don't have that. Like Allah says, most don't even believe. So you have to first believe, then you get to the window of understanding. Then
Sister D, on what you're saying, and again, and on why Cynic will never understand Nargis or me, is because no one wants to admit that all the theories that we make about the ghaib are nothing but that. They're just theories that we're talking about. We're just putting a bunch of words together, and we're pretending that we're talking about the ghaib, something that we have access to. We do not. And so we should not make assertions, like especially positive claims, right? And not only that, we should definitely not make assertions and say that, well, it's the only logical or it's the only position that time applies to God like this, and God is sitting like this, and his hands are like this, and his chair is like this, and his arsh is like this. Na'udhu billah. We do not have epistemic access to God or his mental states or
a God who wears a wristwatch and works on his own time. A God who wears a big clock around his neck like Flavor Flav does.
Okay,
that is not God. That's a lesser God. That's a lesser God. That's not the God of Islam. Don't kill the God of Islam for us. No, I mean it. Don't kill the God of Islam. Just don't kill it. I mean, many have died for that God, and many continue to die and live, for the sake of that one ultimate reality. So don't kill him. don't kill them.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, like, I'll tell you what paganism is, right? Paganism is when we come up and start.
I forgot my question. Okay.
You know what? But again, the broader points are so much more important than like the minute details of like the time in 8th year. Like the broader point is this, right? That what paganism is me going to Colin and Zubair and saying, well, if you're an Ashari and I'm a Mufawwid, or let's say they're a Maturidi and I'm an Ashari, whatever the case, right? Whatever permutation you want to take, and they come to me and say, well, Nizam, my God is superior to your God. Please reject your God and accept mine. I'm like, bro, like, is that how Muslims should talk? Is that how the Sahaba spoke to each other?
No, they didn't even destroy any shrines. They didn't destroy any temples. They never destroyed any.
No, it's not even about shrines. But they didn't like go to each other and start like comparing whose God is more powerful.
That's what I'm saying. They never compelled another to believe, right? The main purpose of a Muslim, the reason why we do a jihad of beyond nafs, right? I think the most important jihad is of nafs, right? But any other jihad that we do is for the sake of salah. That's literally it. So when a place does not allow you, then you say freedom of religion, of let me practice.
That's a whole separate topic.
I know, this is what I'm saying. This is the only time that is. Wait a second. This is what I'm saying. That the only time that Islam ever enforces anything is freedom of practice of religion, which is a constitutional right in every country, basically.
No, it doesn't
right?
actually allow you to practice Islam any which way, right?
What do you
It's not like Islam will allow you to like pray 4 rakat for Maghrib tomorrow.
Where God you can listen. The real Islam. The thing is, wait.
No, it's a whole system, okay? Like
yeah, but hold on.
Like,
let me tell you. Every 5 seconds you're cutting me off. Though I never even like to ask you the first question that I came up to ask you. Thank you. Let us speak.
Sorry, I apologize. Please.
No, you're good. I feel the passion, brother. And this will get me hype. You know what I'm saying? I was looking for this room today. Wallahi, I'm ready.
Allahu Akbar!
I just want you to honestly, like, you
I'm
know.
not trying to argue. No, I'm not trying to argue. Wallahi, I'm trying to. I've been waiting for a room. Okay.
People got me on both my eyeballs on food.
I'm trying to hear the first. That's a big freak ass for here, man.
Woman like half naked, they're not gonna come all together and rape her in the middle of the street, right? So with Muslim men, they have no discipline. Like the reason why the women are covered is because the men are so animalistic that if you don't cover up, they will rape you in the street and everyone will watch. That's how animalistic those men are. So if I know that's the nature of these men, I would want to cover up because I do not want to get raped, right? But they're just animalistic. Like even I know friends that I know Muslim girls, they said, you think even when I'm covered up from head to toe and all you see is my eyes, you think they don't whisper in our ears, oh, I can only imagine what you look under your religious gown? That's what I'm saying, animalistic. Like they still get harassed, even though they're covered from head to toe and all you see is their eyes, they still get harassed. It's just not as bad, but they get harassed.
No, that's not actually true. None of what you said is actually true. I mean, keep in mind that you can't even, if you even talk to a woman that's not your family member in most Muslim countries, that's completely haram. And you just
it is haram, but haram happens. That's why the word
just violated the law. And another thing, hold on, let me give you a few examples because I almost think you said was bad. So
that's your perfection.
Well, I'm going to give you examples and reasons. So just allow me to.
You can't give me examples
some chillism aunties that don't carefully wield that pass, and it shows. I think Don is.
No, I know that name, and it cracks me up every time. Still, God, it cracks me up because you ain't never lied. You don't lie.
We ain't gonna get that this year.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about Jerry Springer while you're doing Jerry Springer. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just making a generalized observation. That's also all. Well, you know what I'm doing. You know.
I don't know. I sense there's something here. I can't put my finger on it, but
You kicked me, thank God. This is so stupid. This is incredibly stupid.
In the United States, if you rape some girl at a frat party, you probably don't even get in any trouble at all. You know, and then she just writes a book about it 10 years later when you become the street book or something like that. That's all that happened.
I don't know if you travel, but I've traveled to these countries, and when they rape, there's no penalty, okay? And too, especially if you go to
This is
Egypt,
so funny.
and you
Chick
don't
is
go with the
destroying
man,
Muslims.
you're definitely getting raped. I'll tell you that right now.
You getting raped? You getting raped? If you get raped, does that increase your chance of also dying and getting killed?
Google India. India is the rape capital. So what are you even talking about?
Okay, so I'd like to respond to this.
There's that.
I'd like to respond to it with this. I'm just saying that you have your opinions. Your opinions are yes, but you don't have one proof. You have countries where the results are being shown. You want to accept it. Because you do not want to accept this. Chose you not to accept it. You don't understand the basics. You don't want to understand the basics. You just want to believe in what you're saying is true. And you are simply...
Oh, is someone from Chillism watching? Oh, is that you? You're like, oh, what's this guy doing now? Is he recording us? Does he have another burner account in the audience? Detect! Kick him! Ah!
What does that have to do with Muslims? If you're talking about Muslims, why'd you bring up India? You're talking
They all look the same. They all look the same.
They all look the same, baby. They all look the same, baby.
Somebody asked why women are... Yeah, somebody asked people did. You know? You got an example, by the way.
All right. Hey, now you may want to bring this back.
Marrying off children, having sex with 8-year-olds, Muslims.
Imagine that there's a room where they're talking about women and Muslims have it right about when Muslims treat women with children, and that women, aren't very good at reasoning or thinking very clearly. And then the only one in the room is saying crazy
So
shit.
do you marry children?
Indians and Muslims look the same. You know what I mean? You're not being American ambassador of the vagina tonight.
Hey, quick, wait. Isn't Shay a Christian? Yeah, Shay is.
So,
Sterling example of such.
Red, it's kind of crazy when you have Shamos, who's a literal white nationalist, shaming you for your racism.
Because he likes children. Because Muslim men marry children. Marry children, and any man that marries children are animals.
No, I'm not shaming her for racism. I'm shaming her for poor use of logic. If you're trying to criticize, Islam, and then one of your arguments about, them raping women is that India is the rape capital of the world. I'm criticizing your logic. Be racist. But I'm not criticizing. I'm criticizing your.
Don't talk about race is the number one colonizer of the world. Don't ever talk about racism because we should go there.
Black people benefited.
The number one colonizer of the entire world.
Yeah, black people benefited from colonization more than any other race in history.
Of course you would say they benefited from being colonized. Of course you would say that.
Maybe you need to be colonized as well so you can benefit from it.
No, maybe you need an honor killing. Like you do with your
wife and your family, your parents,
with your wife, like you do with your daughter. Maybe you need an honor killing.
So,
What do you think, sir?
India benefited massively from British colonization.
Exactly. Just like we can colonize you, and then you can benefit from it.
The whole idea is
What do you think?
The whole idea is that you only benefit from a superior power. India isn't a superior power to us, so we wouldn't benefit from getting colonized by people.
No, India is actually a superior power.
From being colonized by people who are superior.
No, India is mutually superior. In fact, India was even monetarily superior from the British. The British were uncivilized when they came to India. They stole lots of wealth. $44 trillion of wealth was stolen.
The whole country with like 3,000 troops.
$44 trillion of wealth was stolen from India by the British, who were living in the dark ages, right? And suddenly they underwent industrialization all of a sudden. They didn't know shit about science. They didn't know how to count. And then they learned Indian numbers, and then Europeans became very successful. So Shay, keep that colonization shit to yourself.
The
truth is, you are about to get colonized.
The guys that navigate over there on ships actually take your land, knew nothing about math. Okay, that checks out. Another thing is they were so uncivilized living in the dark ages that they had superior military tactics and weaponry than you did. So far, so good.
Colonizer, they're full of lies.
No, shit, thank God. We don't use the Greek and Roman numeral system.
Some of you fucking idiots are new to my room, but you just don't get to interrupt each other. That's just not how my room fucking works. So if you fucking interrupt each other, I'm gonna move you down. If you don't get to a fucking point quickly, I'm gonna move you down. Stop fucking acting like fucking no self-control pieces of shit. Let someone finish their point. Get to a point quickly. It's fucking basics, conversational decency. But Shiva, you said that the British were in the fucking dark ages, and then all of a sudden they industrialized. You're kind of jumping between, the dark ages, which is like 500 AD, and Victorian Britain, which is like 1800s Britain. It's a long time period between the dark ages of Britain and the Victorian era.
No, man, the point simply is that, India was a far richer country when Europeans came to India, and it was not just the British sucking on Indian dicks. The Portuguese were there, the French were there, chopping away different parts of India, and sucking up to all the natural resources, the jewelry, the gems, the gold. And most importantly, they shut down the Indian education system. They shut down the Indian mathematical sciences. They shut down the Indian astronomical schools. They shut down the Indian medicinal schools. All the herbs and etc. were transferred by the Portuguese through several books. The Jesuit monks came and studied the Indian math, took it to Europe. It actually also traveled to Europe through Arabia, which is how we know how to count today. Otherwise, we'd be doing Greek and Roman numeral system, which is X, C, I. This is the civilization that Shay is talking about. I can go on and on, but for now, I agree with the lady who was speaking before that Islam has a parasitical problem with how they treat women. But I guess the counter argument would be that every other civilization is going to bow down to Islam because they are losing control of their women, unfortunately. So we don't have to be like Islam, but unless you become a conservative country and unless you have placed enough emphasis on marriage and children, every society is going to bow down to Islam. There is no other way out. You cannot be liberal and defeat Islam. That's not how it works.
I have a question. Yeah, Shiva, do you think that the West could have a sufficiently good assimilation program such that Islam could figure out how to coexist in the West? A moderate Islam, right? A changed, reformed Islam that would benefit from a real program of Western assimilation of non-Westerners.
No, Islam is impossible to change. Islam, in its DNA, is designed for dominance. It comes from the desert. The religions of the desert, all of them, but Islam in particular, have the tendency to dominate. They're tribalistic, and their goal is not a spiritual goal. So they will do what they do. They will fight jihad. They will take women as slaves. They will rape. They will torture until everybody kills each other, and even within Islam, they have all these fights. The reality is, the moment you recognize Islam as not being a religion, that is the only way to deal with it. Then you can kick them out, which is what it should be. There is no other way to deal with Islam, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. Islam will never modernize. They're strict in their religion. They're strong in their religion. Even their laws of the land is influenced by their religion. So.
Dave, just to be clear, I'm not a white nationalist, even though Shamos is. Just clear the distinction there.
I don't like Muslims are familiar. I'm also an anti-Semite. You know that, right, Sam?
I know.
Like a virulent one.
Yeah. He wants to be kicked out of America. I know.
He wants you kicked out of America, or he wants to be kicked out?
He wants me to be kicked out of America because I'm Jewish. He doesn't trust us Jews. He wants just a homeland for the whites. You know what I mean? And I'm not allowed in there because I'm a Jew.
Oh, they got a few of those. Sweden, all types of stuff.
Yeah, I always tell Shamos that if there's going to be an ethno-nationalist country in America, it should be for the Native Americans, and that if he wants a white ethno-state, he should go back to Europe and form one there.
Yeah, I'm all for Germany being a white nationalist country. I'm all for UK being a white nationalist country.
You're funny.
But not in the US. Not in Australia. Not in New Zealand, and not in Chile, and not in countries that whites never were part of. These are
happy
immigrant
to
countries.
go back to Germany and form the Fourth Reich. Like I'm happy about that. I'm German anyway, so I'm ready to go home. This
Absolutely,
is
dude.
let the Indians have it.
Absolutely. Please do so.
Guys, stick on the topic. Islam is right about women.
Yeah, so my earlier point was about Islam, right? So the thing is, you cannot defeat Islam through democracy, and you cannot defeat Islam through free elections and secularism and liberalism. There are two ways of defeating Islam, in my opinion. One, you kick them out of your countries and keep them where they are. Let them do their own thing, whatever they want to do, but in their own countries. The other way to defeat Islam is by marrying, having children, having enough children that demographically dominate Islam. Because they will win the demographic battle sooner or later, and they will replace every country's native population with their own. So the problem is, in the West and everywhere else, women are so independent, they don't want to get married anymore, and there's no children, and because there's no children, Islam will take over. As simple as that.
Islam will take over. And what forced the women to marry? And then there's going to be a huge thing where women will also rebel. But the number one weapon for women is food and herbs. Poison you. We'll just poison you. That's what's going to happen next.
Yeshua, here's my question for you. Why don't we just give the Muslims TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris and just get them kind of deconvert? Why don't we just make them degenerate like us? You know what I mean? They have no intellectual immune system to fight against the degeneracy of TikTok, which is just so potent that it will just win.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but and that's happening to some extent. I mean, you see a bunch of ex-Muslims emerge out of the internet, but the point is, their brainwashing process begins so soon in life. They are 3 years old when they start reciting the Quran and going to the religious schools. By 5, by 7, they already know the Quran in and out. I mean, that's a different degree of brainwashing that you cannot compete with.
Oh, they brainwashed them from when they were babies. That's genius.
Yeah, I don't think there is a religion that's beating Islam when it comes to brainwash.
Yeah, it's crazy. Imagine having the audacity to kill people for leaving your religion. Imagine just the sheer audacity of that. Bro, you're a cult. You're not even a fucking religion, bro.
why you couldn't fault me when I said they're animals. You couldn't fault me for that.
I'm not faulting you. No, you can't say they're animals. That's wrong.
They marry off children. As long as you get your first period, you're getting married off to an old Muslim man. That's animalistic.
Yeah, they got some issues.
It's to the point where you will have to lie to your mom or try to hide your period. Imagine me being a woman and I know once I get my period, I'm going to get married. I would lie to my parents, like, no, I didn't get it yet. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's a good point, Red. Thank you. I think you're making some good points.
I agree. Yeah, but Christianity is still crazy too.
Here we go.
No, it's not. Yeah, Christianity, actually, especially Catholicism, is a good tool for fighting against all things that.
But Red, don't let him pull one over. Like he's trying to do a whataboutism fallacy. Like you're talking about Islam, which is a real issue, and he's like, oh, what about Christianity? Or what about Christ? It's like, commandment. Like we see through your tactics.
Are we seeing right through them, bro?
Like Jewish people, yeah, they have their flaws, but Jewish people are not marrying children. Christians have their flaws, but they're not marrying children. Why is your religion marrying children?
So, Red, are you saying that Arabs are animals, or are you saying that Muslims are animals?
The religion Muslim is animalistic.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, that's it.
Arabs, I don't know. I don't know too much about Arabs, but Arabs are Muslim, aren't they?
So, no, Arabs is the Arab is the race, and Islam is the religion.
I mean, it's like studying really. Like a distinction without a difference.
Yeah, it's intertwined.
You know that saying, potato. That's
Yeah. Unless they converted, unless you're like an Arab that's Christian or something.
Okay, so you can distinguish them. Okay, yeah. So you think it's the religion that's the animals, not the race, which is, I think, I commend you for that, because you can't change your race, but you can change your religion.
Yeah, the religion is influencing the bad behavior. The religion is telling them marry children. The religion is telling them, oh, if your wife is caught with shorts, you have the right to take her out of the house in the woods somewhere and kill her, and you're gonna go to heaven when you kill your wife. Like, yeah, that's really the religion.
Yeah, that's a bad religion.
I guess I hear what everyone's saying, especially the point about like what is in the DNA of Islam. I guess I don't know if this is optimism or pessimism, but I guess from a legalistic perspective, because I come from a legal tradition that has successfully reformed itself many times, I just can't believe that there aren't those mechanisms within the jurisprudence if there was the will, right? I understand that point, that you're telling the political nature of Islam and et cetera, those are all very good points. It seems to me there are mechanisms there. If there was a will, there are ways to do it.
Right. But like, let's not detract from Red's main point. Like, I appreciate what you're saying, Caleb. That's like fine, but like, I think Red's point should really be centered here. Like, we should amplify female voices who speak out against abuse of Islamic animals.
I agree. Like, Red, what else do you think about like how Islam treats women? Like, what else? What are some more thoughts on that?
The fact that you're going to God, right? Like they'll have a mosque and you're going to God, right? Like y'all should be together, going to God together. There's segregation in the church.
Yes.
Segregation in the church is crazy to me.
That's right.
I don't know in the synagogue there's segregation in the church, in the synagogue. I don't know.
It's not front and back like that. Absolutely not. They would either be.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm saying you're making the women feel like they are nothing. Like you're making them feel like they are nothing.
We've got one
and
more
all
comment.
their good for
One more
is
account
to
that we
push
can do
babies.
Clubhouse.
That's it.
chill
That's how you
soon.
making the women feel. They are nothing.
Wait, Zephyr, Red, what is your accent?
Huh?
What is your
To
accent?
acknowledge the
Even if you view him as an outsider of his community, which I don't think.
damn it, you keep running with that narrative.
Okay.
It's almost like what? I guess it's like once a narrative like is planted, it's hard to be dissuaded from it. What if we listen to the audio of them not saying one word about whether they can speak on it, and then we heard.
They kicked me. Thank God. That was like 6 for 6 cloudhouse kicks.
And the Texas governor had to weigh in and kind of cancel the plan. Only Muslims were supposed to live in that community of 400 acres in here.
Did you guys hear that story about how like an entire subcontinent was like going to be reserved exclusively for Hindu? And like God had to step in and change.
Here comes
Is
the
it India,
liberal.
the subcontinent?
Rosa Pakistan.
I'm fucking crying. Yo.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I just feel like the religion could be much better because they really, when I say they make women feel like nothing, that's just one aspect of it. In their Quran, they say that the men will go to heaven and they'll have 1,000,000 virgins. You're fucking in heaven? Okay, let that sink in. All the men will go to heaven and they will be granted, like they said, 7,000 virgins or something.
72, don't exaggerate.
Yeah, like 72, whatever virgins, right? And then when you ask them what will happen with the women, they're like, oh, we don't know. We leave it to God. You see what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? And then when you talk to the women, they be like, oh, we pray day and night because we don't know where we're gonna end up. But the men know where they're gonna end up, though.
Instead of Pussy Town. Like, first off, Pussy Town, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's like the men will end up in heaven and they're gonna be fucking 72 virgins, though.
You know what they'll do? They're gonna stack, some of the women on top of each other. So they're gonna go like, whoop, whoop, like they're gonna like have like a little tower.
You can't tell me that's a godly religion. You cannot tell me that. This is a man-made religion.
Hello?
Yeah, when I think of things that men would come up with, I would never imagine men would come up with.
Hello?
Oh, you get to fuck lots of hot virgin women when you die. Men would never come.
The title is rape.
Did they mention the age?
I don't know. Can you read?
I don't know. Yeah, how old are they?
Yeah, it says rape in Islamic countries and India.
Oh, you become the slave of some Arab guy. That's what I was
You're slave, and then when you're living, you're slave. When you're dead, he can't win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never understood the female suicide bomber. I get the male why he's killing himself, but why is the female killing herself?
It's like, oh, I get to be some guy's part of a guy's harem. Yay!
Yeah, the women definitely have to devalue themselves. It's so sad that some word has to go down.
I think the virgins, I think the current understanding is that the so-called virgins are going to be like pea zombies or something. An actual.
They're gonna be zombies.
More like V zombies, right?
That's right.
I mean, Islam is literally like if you ask like a horny 12-year-old to come up for
Like, I can't wait to go to heaven. I'm gonna get so many vaginas. It's sick. This is a sickness.
I go to heaven and I check out like how the Arabs are doing, and they're like out there like, oh, welcome to my pussy paradise, bro. Welcome to paradise.
Welcome to my pussy time.
Can you bring this warrior up, please?
Warrior of Freedom thinks that
women become men when they go to heaven. So the
That's
virgin,
insane.
where the fuck do the virgins come from then? What the hell? All right, we'll have Warrior speak for himself about whether the women become men.
The women turn into men in heaven. So that means you're also saying that your God made a mistake. Like, he's just making women for what reason? So they could turn into men eventually? Like, this is what, it's not making no sense.
So he made the women so that way you can spread more. And then when you die, you come back as a man. Yeah.
There is a YouTube video of a Pakistani imam describing what the virgins look like in heaven, and it's 1 hour long. That's a 1 hour long video on YouTube.
What do they look like? They're just like super hot.
Apparently, they're translucent. Their bodies are so translucent.
So I can see their like veins and shit.
Yeah, you can see their veins.
What? Oh hell yeah!
And
They like jellyfish. The veiny. You like fucking a jellyfish? What?
Something like that. And they're huge. They're very tall.
You can see that bone marrow. It's in the hadith.
Well, that's how you know they're pregnant, is you can see into their womb. And you're like, oh, this girl's a virgin. She's fertile. And directly detect my eyeballs. Because here's how you do it. You go to heaven, and you impregnate the 72 women, and then once they all pop out the babies, you impregnate them again. And that's how you make all the new souls. And those souls, then that's what, you know, the Earth population is growing. They need new souls. So these translucent women in heaven are the factories for the souls of future people. Sweet.
I honestly don't believe you're having sex in heaven anyway.
Wait, why can't you get poontang in heaven? Right?
It's a sin or some shit. I don't know.
Wait, you think it's a sin? Yo, you're in heaven. why can't you?
It's no sex, but it's no sex in heaven. I don't think so.
No, you're getting your dick wet.
There's no way. Because remember, you're supposed to be pure. Like, you're pure as hell.
No.
Like, you're pure.
Yeah. You're getting your dick wet on the reg.
I'm telling you, there's none of that going down.
You tell me,
I wonder how it works with like Christianity and marriage in heaven. Like, what if you marry somebody? Like, are you married in heaven? And let's assume yes. What if you become like? What if your spouse dies and then you remarry? Are you married to both of them in heaven?
In heaven, you are eternal. You are eternal life. Like, you're not dying anymore. You're in heaven.
Yes, eating the cats and dog.
You're a soul. You're like a soul.
Aren't you married to Jesus? When you get to heaven,
yeah, when you get to heaven, you're just praising God or something all day. I don't know.
Sounds boring.
Yeah, I think you got turned into women in this Christianity, actually.
And then you married Jesus.
The complement to Islam.
What's so wrong about like having sexual intercourse in heaven? Like, everyone like looks sort of like, genuinely, I'm wondering, why is it impure? Like, why is it necessarily impure?
Because sex is for bearing children. You're not creating children in heaven.
No, under Islam, sex isn't just for creating children. It's just like an act of love and pleasure.
Okay. Go commit sin in heaven now. I don't know. You guys, I don't know.
Like, it's not impure under like a paradigm. But it's just like, I feel like this whole like, oh, in Islam, like, you guys like have sex in heaven. It's like, it's a very emotional argument. People appeal to emotion all the time, but like, I don't see
That's what new on earth
a
is heaven.
rational argument against it.
The idea is that, like, it's not necessarily that, like, having sex in heaven is bad. It's that, you know, this idea that, like, the highest kind of form of good is to actually have virgins, like, cater to your every need. Not to actually have, like, you know, human relationships with, you know, another, like, sort of person that you love and respect, and so on. It has to be, like, 72 virgins, right? It just, even that sex is pleasurable, it's going to be, like, pretty impersonal. Not the kind of thing you associate with, like, divine heavenly love.
Oh, hey, Ludwig, how you doing, big guy?
We all fucked up anyway. Because the first, they said in the Christian religion, the first man you have sex with, that's your husband. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's your husband, whatever, right? So imagine I go to heaven and my husband is in hell. I cannot have sex with another man that's not my husband. There's no sex going on in heaven. It's considered a sin. Like, I don't know.
No,
I
you
could be
understand
wrong.
the point I was trying to make. That's why people like find it a bit absurd, right? The idea that
No, I get it, but it's not the only kind of reward that we get to experience in heaven.
And God is gonna watch out for us.
That is, it's one aspect. So
people just do like to. I mean, it's partly it's a mockery, right? So it's going to exaggerate like the perceived most serious parts of it, right, and ignore the rest. I mean, it's not really a serious argument against Islam, I suppose. It's just more of a.
I don't think it's a serious argument. It's just like, it's like an abductive argument, just like.
Yeah, very.
You said you knew how to do this.
Get in my way again. You touch me again, and I.
No, isn't it conceivable that God is social appeal to the audience that by invoking things that they would in heaven.
Said you knew how to do this.
On earth, wine is forbidden. Get in my way again. Wine flows freely. I mean, I don't get that. The logic there. How is it that you can drink all the wine you can, heaven is not around, but on earth it's around?
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
A distraction from like worshiping God, because we're here in earth to worship God, but then in the afterlife, like the bad effects of wine are not, or like alcohol in general, not actually, because in heaven there's nothing bad, so you'll be able to enjoy the taste or whatever without the bad effects.
But in the Christian religion, God turned the whole sea into wine, and people were worshiping Him with wine and bread, and worshiping God. That's what I'm saying. It's an excuse. It's an excuse for men that have no discipline. Oh, I'm going to get so drunk that I'm going to forget God Almighty. Anyways, I want to hear the Jewish version of your heaven. Like, what does it say in the Torah about going to heaven?
I will sketch your soulmate.
This guy had no views.
Nickels that can roll around in. That my soap instead of being in my I have $100 bills. I can rub all over my body. And then I go, everywhere I go out, on every street corner, you know what I mean? And then they're like, oh, hello, welcome, Sam. You want a loan? And then I just go, yeah, sure. And it's like, that's right.
I'm serious, Sam.
Yeah, that's why heaven. That's what the Torah says. I'm not going to go by the Torah.
Every day as well. Every day is Hanukkah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's people spinning dreidels in the streets, and they're gambling on it.
Especially being Allah bread is like pretty close to heaven.
Dreidel. I remember that song when I was a kid.
And then in every town, there's like a silly goy that we all get to trick, do the practical jokes on. We like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like we made you sign a contract that was like not to your favor. Like, gotcha. It's just like it's fun for everyone in the town.
You think there will be Holocaust museums there?
Oh no! There's no Holocaust museums.
Oh shit! And what about the women in heaven? The Jewish women?
Lots of body hair. A lot of body hair.
Do they get to take off their wigs now?
Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of hair going on in general. You got the mustache, you got the armpit hair, you just got the happy trail. Like it's just women get to be us Jewish women get to go be free, baby.
Well, there's no Holocaust museums, but there are like lots of Palestinian encampments that you can bomb, right?
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
I mean, it just goes to